I said it would be every Monday, so here I am. Still don't have an intro. I'm working on it, guys. I just don't know what to say to all of you. Like, do I have a name for you? Is that something that people do? Because, I mean, like, I'll be the first one to admit I'm not exactly the most... Can I say I'm not the most creative person? Because this is my job to be creative. I'm going to put that in the final edit, but if y'all start judging me, we're going to have a talk. So anyways, I said this was going to be a weekly thing, and ta-da! So I thought the best way to join the YouTube group is to start answering some of the questions that I get asked all the time by all of you. And a lot of those questions have to do with self-publishing, and a lot of them have to do with just writing in general. So I think the most important thing right now is to start with self-publishing. Self-publishing is one of those things, decisions, I guess I should say, that is really personal to you. I don't want to tell anybody that they should or should not self-publish just based off of my opinion. Now, your opinion is going to be something totally different. If you ask another author, they're also going to have a different opinion, and that's okay. I chose to self-publish a majority of my novels, if not all of them currently. I am looking at being what is called a hybrid author. Sorry, I'm holding a mic in this hand. Hello. Because I haven't really figured out sound. So hopefully this will be better. Anyways, so self-publishing versus traditional publishing, they're two very different things. I control everything that has to do with my books, but it is a lot of extra work. Traditional publishing is, I can't say that it's not less work. It is a lot of work. Publishing in general is a lot of work, but there are different pros and cons to traditional publishing rather than just self-publishing. So, since my experience is self-publishing, I think the most important thing that I can do for people is to say why I self-publish, what I think is the pros and cons, and let you make your decision for yourself. Now, again, I'm going to start this video out by saying, as I always will, take my opinion with a grain of salt. It's the opinion of one person, so it is what it is. My experience is going to be very different from your experience, so just keep that in mind with any advice that I give you. What is the most important thing about self-publishing for me on why you should self-publish? For me, it was the control factor. I like knowing that the product that I put out there is going to support the brand that I am building for myself. It is so important for me to have a brand, to have an author image that is being put out into the world. Now, for you, it might not be that. You might just want to have a book out there. You might want to give up that control to somebody else who knows more than you do, which would be the traditional publishing route. For me, I have this sort of, we're going to call it confidence, but I believe it has been described before as arrogance, that I really, really enjoy having control over what I do, who I am, what people think of me. So for me, I wanted to take a book that I had created, to jump directly into publishing, to contact editors, to get cover artists, to create an image for myself. Now, that's not going to be for everyone. I'm going to say that again. It's not for everyone. So, if you do not feel prepared to know every aspect of this industry, to be able to be in touch with an editor who is a good editor, to be able to find a cover artist that not only is going to create an incredible illustration, for example, or a very, very technically skilled photo manipulation, but also is branded towards the genre that you are selling in, then maybe you're not quite ready. Not to mention all of the marketing aspects that go with publishing. There's a lot that you have to do. It's not just putting a book out on Amazon and just seeing what happens. So all of these things are factors that you really need to be aware of before you jump into this genre. Now, why am I saying that? Because I personally jumped in without any of this information. So if you've done any sleuthing on the internet to figure out who I am or what I have published, you'll see that there is, or was, a book called The Goblin Bride and The Goblin Warrior. they're not there anymore. You can probably find a couple copies on eBay. I also have a couple copies, but they are not out into the general public anymore. Why? These were my first books. I had a family member edit them, and it didn't go so hot. They were great stories, but they weren't what I wanted my author brand to be seen as. Excuse me. Frisbee? Oh my God. Cat. Frisbee! I'm waiting for the cat to stop making sound. I think we're good. So where should you start if you are ready on this publishing journey to become a self-published author and to jump into the masses and do the thing? I think to start with, you've started in a good place, because clearly if you're watching this video, you're doing research. And research is the biggest step, in my opinion, in this. You should never jump into anything without knowing a little bit about what you're doing. So I always say research. Number one, figure out this business. And it is business. Publishing is so big, and there's going to be so much advice from so many people out there, and you have to be able to figure out what is good advice and what is bad advice. So my number one thing I always say, and I'm going to try to put a little image here. If there's no image, I apologize. I'm not that good at editing yet. Anyways, this book is my number one thing. It's called Write Naked by Jennifer Probst. I think that it is something that everybody should read. It is so good advice, such good advice. I'm a writer. I'm not good at speaking. But she goes over everything from the perspective of an author, from motivation to keeping yourself writing, to not giving up, to feeling jealousy over friends, all of these things that are so, so good for you to think about before you jump into this business. The next one is going to be Save the Cat, Write a Novel by Jessica Brody. This one made such a huge difference in my life because it's really, really about time management skills. Writing is not an easy job. It's not just sitting down and just writing out your feelings or your ideas. I wish it was. It would take a lot less time. But you have to have really good time management skills to jump into this. The next one that I think is the most important book that you can spend your time reading is Take Off Your Pants by Libby Hawker, which seems, first of all, the name is so, so fantastic. But for me, the most important change that I made in the way that I write is by plotting out the story and having a detailed outline so that by the time I sit down to write, I don't have to think. I just have to have the words. It's not about character development. It's not about what is the next step that makes this story feel whole. It's about just getting the words on the paper. Now, if you're in the writing arena and you've been writing for a while, if you've done National Writing Month or any of those things, you know that there is two kinds of people. There are pantsers and plotters. I am firmly a plotter. I think everybody should be. That's my own opinion. Don't come for me. But I think that outlines are the best. So we've talked about why you should self-publish and what I say to start with, and the cons now. You're going to work a lot. Self-publishing is no joke. To be successful, to make a full-time living like I do, it is every day. There are no days off. It's a business. It's your own company that you own, and you're the master of your own ship. So your ship will sink or swim. Float? Your ship will float, hopefully. Hopefully your ship isn't swimming. Although, if somebody can write a story like that, I'd read it. Anyways, where was I? Cons? Cons of self-publishing. Cons of self-publishing. It's just work. It's a lot of work. And when you take something that you love to every day. So self-publishing is a lot of work. And when you take something that you love and you shift that into an everyday, you have to do this thing. And to take that as well and mass produce it and really base your entire career and what you make money off of based on the opinion of others. That's very difficult. It's hard to get 1-star reviews. It's hard to have people that don't like the product. I saw something online that I think is really important for so many people to see, but that there's 10% of people who have a story in them. And 10% of that 10% will ever actually write it. And then 10% of that will publish it. And only 10% of that will publish their next book. So writers, if you have a story in you and if you publish that book, you are a rare gem. Anyways, seriousness aside, I am going to be continuing this series. So just so that you know what you're going to be getting into, I'm going to be doing 2 different series that are a little more serious. So we'll be having this Self-Publishing 101 course, and that will happen once a month. Sorry, lint? I don't even know. So it'll be Self-Publishing 101. There'll be another week, which is going to be Writing 101, which is just kind of breaking down world building, character development, plotting, all of those things that are really kind of nitpicky towards writing itself. And then I'm going to do another series as well over the books that I have coming out, since I have almost one every single month this year. Crazy stuff. But I'll be going over little tidbits about the books, what's coming out. No spoilers, of course. And if there are spoilers, I will let you know with a big red flashing, maybe black. It'll be a title screen, whatever it is, to let you know to skip over that part or just to stop the video there. And then, of course, the last video of the month, I'm going to do a recap, what I did, what I finished. Just sort of a less formal way of me talking directly to you and answering some Q&A questions. So if you do want to get in on those questions, you're going to have to follow some of my social media accounts. I'm most active on Instagram, but I also have a Facebook and a Twitter, which you can find in the links below. Is that it? I think that's it. I think I did the thing. If you have any questions about what I've said here, please post them in the comments. I'm more than happy to respond to them. And I still don't have an outro either. You know, you'd think I would figure this out, but I don't think I have an outro. So for now, I'm just going to say bye.